You're listening to the Abolitionist Roundtable, patriotic Black American conservatism, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice, leading the charge and advancing the 4%. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600.
And we are back, and just like we are back, last week we talked to an author and reporter, and we said that we just didn't have enough time, and we wanted to bring him back. So we are on our hotline. We have Jim Simpson, and Jim, welcome back to the show.
Hey, great to be back.
How are you? I'm so glad that you took the time to get up with us again this morning.
No, my pleasure.
Now, when we talked last, we were talking about the immigration and the agenda to basically just erase the American tradition here,
right?
With some of the things that immigration and using immigration for political reasons basically is what it is.
Yeah, immigration and refugee resettlement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
absolutely.
Can you pick up where we left off last week?
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't remember specifically where we left off, but you know, this is an issue of extreme growing national concern and extreme importance, especially given the fact that yesterday we had calls from some of the government contractors who are paid multi-millions of dollars and radically incentivized to bring in as many refugees as they can. We got calls from them yesterday to bring in 200,000 Syrians, Syrian refugees. And, you know, this is the second time that call has been made. There was, ironically, there's 9 what they call voluntary agencies, VOLAGs for short, and these are government contractors, and the government pays them a per refugee fee to resettle refugees, and they have turned it into a major profit-making enterprise, even though they are tax-exempt organizations. 6 of them are nominally religious, and so, for example, and this is just hilarious, and well, not hilarious, but it's bizarre and kind of the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which used to focus primarily or exclusively on saving Jews from, you know, persecution in Europe and around the globe, where they really had to, you know, get out of town.
Yes.
And now Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society is one of the biggest Muslim resettlement agencies in the country, and they don't care. They like to make the money, and it doesn't seem to matter to them that they are importing into this country people, some of whom really want to just see Israel wiped off the face of the earth. Yeah. So it's bizarre, but now yesterday the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, which I use the acronym LIARS to describe, came out with the same call, 200,000. And, you know, I think there's 14 senators who called for resettling 65,000. And before that, we had only been thinking about, you know, maybe 1,000 or something like that.
Now, real quickly, these organizations like the Hebrew and the Lutherans, is there an accurate way to assess what they get per immigrant that they get into this country? Is there?
Well, I'll tell you. What you'd have to do is you would have to contact them and ask them how many refugees they resettled, because it's easy to find out how much money they got from the federal government. And I have a table in the book I wrote, The Red-Green Axis, Refugees, Immigration, and the Agenda to Erase America. I have a table that says exactly how much money they make every year from the government.
And could you just give us a couple of reason why I'm asking you? Is there a route to the Senate in terms of how much money is paid to them by lobbyists?
Oh yeah. There's the Refugee Council of America, and the Refugee Council. Guess who pays the Refugee Council's bills? It's the 9 VOLAGs and some others interested parties who benefit from the refugee resettlement agenda. So, for example, when the Refugee Council went to the Senate, went to the Congress, and said, you guys should bring in 65,000 Syrians, and they were speaking on behalf of the VOLAGs. Now, the VOLAGs should not be, cannot lobby, so of course they've created this lobbying organization that does the dirty work for them. And so, no surprise, the VOLAGs, through the Refugee Council, went to the Senate and told these guys, and lo and behold, here's 14 senators just quacking like ducks, saying exactly what they're told to say, and let's get 65,000 Syrians brought in here, even though at the same time they were listening to testimony from the FBI that those people could not be vetted for, jihadist sympathies. And the jihadists, ISIS in particular, have already said openly that they're going to exploit the fact that they can't be vetted.
Now, what about how many Christians are? Because I've heard that certain areas of Syria have been denuded of Christians. I mean, just absolutely. This is where isn't this where the cradle of
Well, that's
Christianity?
the other hypocrisy. That's the other bit of hypocrisy, because if this was really a genuine refugee resettlement operation, the people being resettled would be the ones who are facing the most extreme persecution, and of course that's the Christians.
Yes.
Well, the Syrians being brought into the United States are 97% Muslim. Almost no Christians at all. And many Christians are being turned down. You know, those who decide, well, we can't get in through the refugee program, we're going to try to get into the south border, they get arrested while the Muslims keep going.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with the information that I was given a little earlier today about a way that we can get the laws written to make the Congress responsible?
Well, let me first talk about our petition. I don't remember if we talked about that the last time, but we've put a petition out, no refugee resettlement without local okay. And you can just Google that. It's got a lot of interest, and especially in Michigan, it's got hundreds of signatures, and the people are very, say some very good things about just how unacceptable the whole situation is. And we are trying to build, trying to get, like 100,000 or more signatures on that petition because we want to go to Congress and we want to demand Congress hold hearings and stop place a moratorium on the resettlement program until they can hold hearings and ascertain what's really going on, because it's extremely corrupt. There's a situation in Idaho where a college, it appears, we're not certain yet, but it appears that a college that gets taxpayer funds is using those taxpayer funds to buy rental properties, which they then turn around and rent to refugees who receive taxpayer funds from the VOLAGs to pay their rent. So, in other words, this nonprofit, supposedly tax-exempt organization, the university, is making money using taxpayer dollars to buy rental properties, which are then paid. The rents are then paid to them using taxpayer dollars from refugees. It's a fraud. It's a scam, and that kind of thing is going on all over the country.
Now, since we have an immigration law that all of the congressmen have said that it is broken. Am I correct? So how is this?
But when Congress says things are broken, be careful, because the way they want to fix things is usually not going to be the way what you and me would think of as fixing.
Now, how under what authority is this? Are these numbers being reconfigured? Because there is right now there is supposed to be some type of quota on certain individuals, and the only way that they can change that is by declaring people as refugees. Right.
Well, that's true. That's true. And the president recommends every year to Congress, he sends them a letter saying, this is the number of refugees that I would like to bring in this year, and asks Congress to sign off on it. Well, we know that Congress, for the past 30 years, has not even looked at it. They just, the paper gets signed, and the president does whatever he wants.